Let's play with a really wild thought experiment for a minute. It's one of those questions that's both fascinating and, well, absolutely terrifying. What if our planet, our home, just stopped spinning?
So right now, no matter what you're doing, you're moving. The Earth is spinning, and if you're somewhere near the equator, that spin is whipping you through space at over 1,600 kilometers per hour. We're talking faster than the speed of sound. The only reason you don't feel it, of course, is that everything else, the air, the oceans, the ground beneath you, is all moving right along with us.
But what if that all came to a screeching halt? Imagine you're in a car going at supersonic speeds, and someone just slams on the brakes. Now scale that up to the size of an entire planet. That's the crazy scenario we're going to walk through.
Okay, so the very first thing that happens, the thing that kicks off the whole catastrophe, is a basic law of physics you probably learned in school. Inertia. You know, an object in motion tends to stay in motion. Well, the solid rock of the Earth might have stopped, but everything else on it? Oh, it's definitely still in motion.
That's right. Every single person, every tree, every building, every car, everything that isn't literally part of the planet's deep bedrock would be instantly yeeted eastward. We're talking about being turned into a projectile moving at more than 1,000 miles per hour. It's just complete and instantaneous devastation.
And it's not just the stuff you can see. The atmosphere, this huge ocean of air we live in, would keep right on moving too. This would kick up a global wind that scours the entire surface of the planet at supersonic speeds. A wind so powerful, it would literally scrape landscapes clean in a matter of moments.
The sheer force of that wind, plus that initial jolt from inertia, it's just unimaginable. Nothing, and I mean nothing, humanity has ever built could possibly survive it. Our cities would be wiped off the map in less than a second.
And the sound? My gosh, the sound would be apocalyptic. As literally everything gets thrown past the sound barrier all at once, it would create a single, continuous, planet-wide sonic boom. Just a deafening, final roar signaling that the world as we knew it is over.
So you see, this isn't just one disaster. It's a whole chain reaction, a catastrophic cascade of events. The stop itself triggers the surface obliteration, which then sets off monster tsunamis, and that eventually leads to a completely alien and hostile climate. Let's look at the oceans next, because wow.
Just like the atmosphere, the Earth's massive oceans would keep right on moving. All that momentum has to go somewhere, and where it goes would literally reshape the face of our planet.
Now, these aren't the kind of tsunamis we're familiar with. Forget that. We are talking about colossal waves, miles high, moving at hundreds of miles an hour. They wouldn't just crash on the coastlines, they would wash clear over entire continents, stripping the land right down to the bedrock.
And that leads to a much more permanent change. See, the Earth isn't a perfect ball. The spin creates a tiny bulge around the equator. It's what's known as an oblate spheroid. Well, without that spin, the force holding that bulge in place is just gone. Gravity takes over and starts pulling everything back into a perfect sphere.
And the result of that? All that ocean water that was piled up at the equator would rush towards the poles, creating two brand new, massive polar oceans. And in the middle, a new megacontinent would rise up from the water, a single band of dry land wrapping all the way around the globe.
So, let's pretend for a second that the planet has finally settled down after all that chaos. The long-term reality would be just as bizarre. The very idea of a day, as we know it, would be gone forever.
Without spinning on its axis, the Earth's day-night cycle is now totally controlled by its orbit around the Sun. That means one side of the planet would be stuck facing the Sun for 6 months straight, followed by 6 months of absolute unending darkness.
Just try to imagine what that does to the climate. Our normal 24-hour spin keeps temperatures pretty balanced. But in this new world, the side in daylight would bake for 6 months, getting hot enough to boil water. At the exact same time, the night side would plunge into a deep freeze, way, way colder than the coldest might in Antarctica. Just completely unsurvivable extremes.
So is there any hope? Is there anywhere at all life could possibly hang on? Well, maybe. The answer, if there is one, lies in a very, very thin and specific little strip of land. This place is called the Terminator Line, or the Twilight Zone. It's that band of perpetual sunrise or sunset that separates the burning hot side from the frozen cold side. And right there, in theory, the temperatures could be just right for liquid water to exist. But, and this is a huge but, even this tiny sliver of hope is a nightmare.
you'd still have those insane winds flowing from the hot side to the cold. The Earth's magnetic field, which is generated by the spin, would collapse, leaving you totally exposed to deadly radiation from the sun. Plus, this habitable zone isn't stationary. It's a moving target you'd have to constantly follow as the planet orbits. Survival would be, next to impossible.
When you get right down to it, this whole thought experiment just hammers home how incredibly fragile our existence really is. All the systems that make Earth this perfect little haven for life are held in a super delicate cosmic balance. And a simple, constant spin is basically the linchpin holding the whole thing together.
And that really makes you think, doesn't it? We just explored what happens if you take away one of those constants. It makes you wonder, what other invisible forces, what other perfect alignments are happening right now completely unnoticed that make our world possible? And how many of them do we just take for granted every single day?